My name is Evelyn Reed. I am 58 years old, and I now understand a terrifying truth. A mother can spend 30 years building a son, only to lose him in the 30 seconds it takes him to close a door. It all began with a phone call from my son, Marcus. His voice sounded different, thinner, brittle, but I was his mother. I was practiced in the art of ignoring the things that frightened me. He told me they were celebrating the birthday of my grandson, Leo, who was turning 7. Of course, I was going to go. It was a 15-hour bus ride from the gray chill of Chicago to the humid, magnolia-scented air of Savannah. But he was my grandson. He was my blood. I remember, before leaving, I took the silver-framed photograph I always kept in my living room. Marcus, at 7 years old, the same face Leo has now, with those wide, intelligent eyes and a smile that always held a secret. I tucked it into my suitcase, next to the gift I had wrapped with aching care. It was a photo album, bound in leather, that I had spent months cremating. A physical timeline of our family, of his family. 15 hours on a bus. 15 hours of watching the world blur past, my mind fixed on a single image. Leo's hug. The look on Marcus's face when he saw me arrive. I reached their house at 7 in the evening. The air was warm, smelling of jasmine and damp earth. The house was blazing with light, blue and silver balloons bobbing in the windows. I could hear the high, sharp laughter of children inside. I rang the bell, my heart pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird. Marcus opened the door. He didn't smile. "Mom? What are you doing here?" Those 5 words. Not, "I'm so glad to see you." Not, "We missed you." 5 words that sliced through the warm Savannah air and found my heart. I forced a smile, the painful, practiced expression of a mother. "Well, I came to see my grandson, darling. It's his birthday." Before I could say more, I heard the sharp, angry click-clack of heels on the hardwood floor. It was Serafina, my daughter-in-law. She planted herself in front of me, her arms crossed tight, her face a mask of furious disbelief. "Marcus, did you tell your mother to come?" I mentioned the party, Sarah, but I didn't think. "This cannot be happening." Her voice rose to a shriek, so loud that the laughter inside the house abruptly stopped. "Either she leaves, or I leave. I will not share my home with this woman tonight." My son looked at me. I looked at him, and in that moment, in the sliver of time that stretched into an eternity, I saw something in his eyes I had never seen before. Fear. But it was not the fear of losing me. It was the terrified, subservient fear of losing her. "Mom." His voice trembled. "Mom, maybe it's better if you go." The world stopped. The sound of the crickets, the distant traffic, the pulse in my ears, it all went silent. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just clutched the handle of my suitcase, the one holding that silver frame and the leather-bound album that would never reach my grandson's hands. "It's all right, son," I said, my voice a strange, calm whisper I didn't recognize. "I'll go." I turned and walked back down the cobblestone path. I heard the door click shut behind me. I did not look back. That night, I slept in a sterile motel room near the bus terminal, the neon sign outside painting the walls in strokes of red and green. I cried then. I cried for the 15-hour journey. I cried for the boy in the photograph. I cried for the man who had replaced him. But something inside me changed that night. Something fractured, broke clean in two, and something else, something cold and hard as steel, began to awaken. A week later, my phone rang. It was 2 in the morning. The sudden, shrill sound tore through the silence of my Chicago apartment. It was Marcus. His voice was unrecognizable, desperate, the voice of a child trapped in the dark. Mom, are you there?" "Yes, son, I'm here." "Mom, I need your help. It's urgent. God, Mom, I need $75,000. He was sobbing now. "It's life or death." I remained silent. $75,000. It was more than half of my life's savings. The money I had painstakingly put away from 3 decades of teaching. "What do you need it for, Marcus?" "I can't explain now. Just please. You've always been there for me. You'll be there this time too, right?" I closed my eyes. I saw his face in that doorway, pale and afraid. I heard his voice. Maybe it's better if you go. And then I said, 5 words. Only 5. 5 words that would detonate the life I knew. But I will tell you those later. Before I tell you what I said to my son, you need to understand something. I loved Marcus before he even had a name. When I was 25 and pregnant, my husband, James, left. He vanished one November morning with a woman half his age, leaving me with a 7-month belly, a stack of unpaid bills, and a heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. I never told Marcus the truth. I didn't want him to carry that weight. I raised him alone. I worked as an elementary school teacher, teaching other people's children in the morning and tutoring them in the afternoon, my throat raw, my hands covered in chalk dust. Marcus was my entire world. I remember the mornings in our tiny apartment. I'd make coffee and blueberry muffins, and he'd run down the hall, his backpack on backward, always late. I cleaned his scraped knees. I held him through nightmares. "Mom, you're never going to leave, right?" he asked me once, when he was 8. "Never, my love. Moms never leave." On Sundays, we'd go to the farmer's market. He would insist on carrying the bags, his small arms straining. We'd sit in the park and eat ice cream, vanilla for him, strawberry for me. I took that photograph, the one I carried to Savannah on one of those Sundays. He was 7, the same age as Leo. He was smiling, showing the gap where he'd lost his first tooth, a giant magnolia tree blooming behind him. That day, he told me, "Mom, when I grow up, I'm going to buy you a huge house so you never have to work so hard." I kept that promise in my heart like a sacred vow. I watched him grow. I watched him become, I thought, a good, responsible man. He got a degree, a good job in Savannah. I was so proud. Then he met Serafina. At first, she was all charm, all sweetness. She called me mom-in-law, sent me photos of my newborn grandson. But something changed. It was a slow poisoning. The calls became shorter. The visits were canceled. "Too much work, Mom. Sarah's not feeling well. Leo is sick." I didn't say anything. A mother knows when to be quiet. I told myself that silence was a form of love. But that night, at the door of his house, when he asked me to leave after a 15-hour bus ride, I knew I had been wrong. Something didn't just break, it was pulverized. It wasn't just the humiliation, it was the realization. The boy who carried my bags, the one who promised me a house, the one I held through nightmares, he no longer existed. In his place was a stranger who closed a door in my face. That week, back in Chicago, was the darkest of my life. I sat in my living room, staring at that silver frame. Marcus at 7, Leo at 7, the same face. But was it the same heart? At night, I lay awake, torturing myself. Where did I go wrong? Did I love him too much? Did I not teach him the value of sacrifice? Or had I simply raised a son who only learned to love me when it was convenient? And then, at 2 in the morning, the phone rang. His desperate voice, $75,000. Urgent. I, staring at that photograph in my living room, understood something that broke my soul and freed me at the same time. Sometimes, the person you love the most is the one who needs to learn the hardest lesson. Looking back, the first fracture wasn't that night in Savannah. It was much earlier, so subtle I dismissed it as a crack in the plaster. It was at their wedding, 8 years ago. I had saved for 2 years to help them. It wasn't a fortune, but it was everything I had, $30,000. I kept it in a yellow envelope inside my dresser. I gave it to Marcus 3 months before the ceremony. "Son, this is for you and Sarah, to get you started right." He hugged me. He actually cried. He told me I was the best mother in the world. But when the wedding day arrived, something was wrong. Serafina had organized everything. A grand ballroom, flowers dripping from the ceiling. It was beautiful. But when it was time for the ceremony, I was shown to my seat. In the 3rd row, the groom's mother, in the 3rd row. In the 1st row were Serafina's parents, Albert and Beatrice, in their elegant, expensive clothes, smiling their perfect smiles. In the 2nd row, the bridal party, and me, in the back. Marcus saw. He didn't say a word, neither did I. During the reception, Serafina introduced me to her friends. This is Evelyn, Marcus's mom. She works at a little school in Chicago. A little school. As if my 30-year career, my life's work, was something quaint and small. But the real wound came with the first dance. Traditionally, the groom dances with his mother. Serafina insisted on changing the order. Marcus danced with her, then with her mother, Beatrice, and finally, with me. 2 minutes. We spun in a circle. 2 minutes. "Mom, you look beautiful," he said, his eyes avoiding mine. "Thank you, son." Sarah, she wanted everything to be modern, less traditional. "It's fine, son. It's your day." I lied. It was not fine, but a mother learns to smile as her heart is breaking. After the wedding, the erosion accelerated. When Leo was born, I traveled to Savannah. I stayed at their house for only 3 days. Serafina made it clear my help was not required. "Evelyn, I have everything under control. Besides, my mom is coming tomorrow." Beatrice, her mother, stayed for 3 weeks. For Leo's first birthday, I brought a gift I had spent months on, a hand-knitted teddy bear with intricate cables and glass eyes. Serafina received it with a smile that never touched her eyes. "How lovely, Evelyn. We'll put it away." I never saw Leo with that bear. Christmas became a negotiation I always lost. "Mom, this year we're going to the Caribbean with Sarah's family." "Mom, Leo's too little to travel." "Mom, next year is better." Next year never came. My son didn't just drift away. He was pulled, and I let it happen. I believed that if I stayed quiet, if I didn't complain, if I didn't bother him, he would remember me. He would come back. He didn't. Until that night of Leo's 7th birthday, I had waited long enough. I took my savings, bought that bus ticket, and traveled 15 hours, and my son closed the door in my face. That week, back in Chicago, I cried for all the years I had stayed quiet, for all the times I swallowed my pain, for believing my silence could buy his love. And then the call came, 2 in the morning, $75,000. "Mom, you've always been there for me. This time too, right?" I stared at the ceiling. I thought about the 3rd row. I thought about the teddy bear. I thought about the Christmases I spent alone. I thought about that door slamming shut. How long must a mother give? How long must she be silent while they treat her as if she doesn't matter? I took a deep breath, and I said those 5 words. I wasn't a perfect mother. My mistake was loving too much. After that wedding, when I saw the signs, I tried. I called Marcus every Sunday. If he didn't answer, I'd wait. If he sounded annoyed, I'd cut the conversation short. "How is my grandson?" I learned to ask, carefully. "Good, Mom. Growing. And you? Work?" "Everything's fine. Busy. Well, I have to go." 3-minute conversations. Serafina posted everything on social media. I saw the pictures. Leo at the beach with Grandma Beatrice. Marcus hugging Serafina's parents at Christmas. Lavish family gatherings where I was never present. I liked every photo. I commented, "So beautiful. Blessings." As if my digital crumbs could bring me closer. Once, for Marcus's birthday, I sent a cake to his office. A chocolate raspberry torte, his favorite since childhood. It cost nearly $300 to have it made and shipped overnight from Chicago. I wanted him to know I was thinking of him. He sent me a text message 2 days later. "Vex, Mom." 3 letters. I replied, "I love you, son. I hope you had a beautiful day." He never answered. But I kept trying. Because that's what mothers do. We keep loving even when we are ignored. 2 Christmases ago, I made one last effort. I bought plane tickets to Savannah. 3 days. I didn't want to bother them. I called him. "Son, I bought tickets to visit for Christmas. Just 3 days. I want to see Leo." A long, heavy silence. "Mom, this year it's complicated." "Why, son? It's only 3 days." "Well, Sarah, she has plans with her family, and the house is small. I can stay in a motel, Marcus. I just want to see you." Another silence. "Let me talk to Sarah. I'll call you back." He never did. The tickets expired. I spent that Christmas alone, staring at the photograph of Marcus at 7, wondering where that boy had gone. I became a shadow. I stopped calling. I stopped sending gifts no one appreciated. I was waiting for crumbs. That's why Leo's birthday woke something in me. A small, fierce voice that said, "Go. Do it for yourself. Don't wait for an invitation that will never come." I bought the ticket. I wrapped the album, and I went. Because I still believed that if he saw me, he would remember. He would remember the sacrifices. He would remember I was his mother. But when he opened that door and said, "Mom, what are you doing here?" When he asked me to leave, when I heard that door slam, I knew the truth. It wasn't a phase. He had chosen. And I was not his choice. I returned to Chicago. I put that photograph away in a drawer. I couldn't look at it anymore. And then, a week later, the phone rang. 2 a.m, $75,000. It's urgent. There he was, looking for me only when he needed me. And I, sitting in the darkness, understood. A mother's love shouldn't be an ATM. It shouldn't be a convenience. Love must be respect. And I no longer had that from my son. So, I took a deep breath. "Mom, please, I need that money. It's life or death." His voice, desperate, broken. The voice he used when he fell off his bicycle. But he wasn't a child. He was a 35-year-old man who had turned me away like a stranger. "Life or death?" I asked, my own voice calm, foreign. "Explain it to me, Marcus." It's complicated. Sarah and I, we have problems. Financial. We invested in a business that went bad. We're being sued. If we don't pay in 3 days, we're going to lose the house. The house I wasn't allowed to enter. "And why don't you get a loan?" I tried. They rejected us. "Mom, only you can help us. You know, if I had any other option, I wouldn't be calling you. If I had any other option." Those words. "So, I'm your last option, son. Not your mother, not the person who raised you. I'm just your last option when everyone else told you no." "Mom, it's not like that. Did you call Serafina's parents? They have money? I've seen the trips, the restaurants." A dead silence. They already helped us last year. We can't ask them for more." "But you can ask me, even though you humiliated me, even though you wouldn't let me see my grandson." "Mom, I'm sorry, okay?" Sarah was upset. "I'm sorry, but right now, I need you to help me. We're family. We're family." I got out of bed and walked to the window. Chicago slept below me, a sea of distant lights. I thought about those $75,000, 30 years of work. "And Serafina?" I asked. "Does she know you're calling me?" Another silence. "No, she's asleep." "So, you're calling me in secret?" "Mom, please, don't complicate this. Yes or no, are you going to help me or not?" There it was, the naked truth. He wasn't calling to apologize. He was calling because he needed money. I took a deep breath. I looked toward the drawer holding the photograph of the boy who promised to take care of me, the boy who was gone. "Marcus," I said, my voice no longer pleading or hurt. It was steel. "Do you remember your wedding?" "What?" "Mom, what are you talking about?" "Your wedding. I gave you $30,000, all my savings. You sat me in the 3rd row. You danced with me for 2 minutes. Mom, that was years ago. Why are you bringing that up now?" "Because for 8 years, I have given you everything. Calls you don't answer, gifts you don't acknowledge, Christmases you cancel. And when I finally travel 15 hours to see my grandson, you kick me out of your house. Now you call me, in secret, asking for the rest of my life savings. Mom, I promise, this time will be different. When I get out of this, things will change. I swear." The same empty promises. "Did you know," I asked, "that I kept the photo album I brought for Leo? I spent months making it. Photos of you as a child, our history. I thought that way my grandson would know who his grandmother is." "Mom, we can talk about that later. I need an answer. Yes or no? Yes or no? As if my pain, my sacrifice, my entire life could be reduced to that. Son, I am going to tell you something. And I want you to listen. Are you going to help me?" I have spent my life helping you. Now, it's time for you to learn. Learn what? That my own mother is turning her back on me? No, son. You're going to learn that actions have consequences, that you reap what you sow. So, you're not going to help me? His voice was incredulous. And then, looking out that window, feeling the weight of 30 years of unrequited love, I said the 5 words that changed everything. The 5 words he never expected to hear from me. Reap what you have sown, Marcus. 5 words. I felt the line between us crackle and split. What? He whispered. What did you say? I said, reap what you have sown. For 30 years, I sowed love. For 8 years, I have harvested nothing but neglect. Now, it is your turn to harvest, son. The silence on the line was so profound, I could hear my own heart beating. I can't believe this, he finally said, his voice no longer pleading. It was cold. Hard. I can't believe my own mother is doing this to me. I'm doing this to you, Marcus? I'm going to lose my house, my son is going to be on the street, and you're giving me fortune cookie phrases. Your son, my grandson, the boy you wouldn't let me see. That was different. Sarah was. Sarah is always upset, and you always choose her. So now, face the consequences of your choices. You. He stopped, choking on his rage. All my life, you taught me a mother is always there, no conditions. And I was. But were you there for me? When was the last time you called me without needing something? I don't have time for this. I need that money. No. The word was so small, so simple, so liberating. No, he repeated, as if he didn't understand the language. Just like that. No. Then let this be clear, Mom. If you don't help me now, don't ever look for me again. Don't call, don't send gifts no one wants. It's over. The final threat. Him or nothing. But instead of fear, I felt peace. It's fine, son, I said calmly. If that's the price of my dignity, I'll pay it. What? I accept. If our relationship depended on $75,000, then we never had one. So, go ahead. End it. You're crazy. You know what? Sarah was right about you. The knife. What did Serafina say about me? That you were manipulative, that you always played the victim, that you used guilt to control me. And she was right. Manipulating you. To what, Marcus? To get you to call me? To get you to respect me? A bitter silence. She says you want to separate us, that you've always tried to sabotage our marriage. I sat on the edge of my bed. My legs were shaking, not from fear, but from a cold, righteous indignation. Marcus, listen to me. I don't want to separate you. I just wanted to be a part of your life. I wanted to be Leo's grandmother. But Serafina decided I was a threat. And you let her. She's my wife. And I am your mother. Why does that mean less? Because she's here. She's my family now. I am your family too. Or, I was. We're done. Fine. But I want you to know, this isn't revenge. It's not punishment. It's simply me letting go. Letting go of someone who let go of me a long time ago. You're going to regret this. No, son. I've regretted many things. Staying quiet, begging for crumbs. But I will not regret this. When I lose my house, when my son suffers, it will be your fault. The words were meant to activate the guilt I had carried all my life. But the well was dry. No, Marcus, it's your fault. You made bad investments. You chose to live beyond your means. I have nothing to do with your decisions, and I will no longer bear their consequences. His voice broke. You're a bad mother. There it was, the final stab. For a second, it tore me apart. My entire life, my identity, my purpose. But then I remembered. The sleepless nights, the meals I skipped, the dreams I abandoned. If being a good mother means letting myself be disrespected, I said, my voice shaking but strong, then yes, Marcus, I am a bad mother, and I am finally at peace with that. Don't call me again. I won't. Goodbye, Robert. Goodbye, Mom. He hung up. I sat in the darkness, the phone still in my hand. I expected to cry. I expected to feel that sharp, familiar pain. But it didn't come. Instead, I felt after light. As if I had dropped a weight I'd been carrying for so long, I had forgotten what it was like to walk without it. I got up. I walked to my dresser. I took out the drawer and found the photograph of Marcus at 7. That beautiful, smiling boy. He no longer existed. And it was all right. I kissed the glass and put the frame in a box at the back of my closet. I didn't throw it away. I couldn't. But I no longer needed to see it. I no longer needed to remember who he was. I needed to remember who I was. Evelyn Reed, 58 years old. A teacher, a woman, a mother, yes, but also a something more. Someone who deserved respect. Someone who had finally learned to say no. That night, for the first time in years, I slept. The days that followed were quiet. I went to school. I taught my classes. I drank coffee with my friend, Lucy. "Evelyn, you look different," she said. "Lighter." "I just let go of something that wasn't for me anymore," I replied. 3 days after the call, Serafina phoned. I saw her name, and my first instinct was to ignore it, but I knew I had to close this door completely. "Hello?" "Evelyn." Her voice was ice. "Do you know what you just did?" "I have an idea. You denied money to your own son. We're going to lose our house. Leo is going to suffer because of your selfishness." The old Evelyn would have apologized. "Holly," I said, "Robert told you why I said no. He told you what happened at Leo's birthday." A pause. That was a misunderstanding. It wasn't. You screamed that either I left or you left, and my son chose. So when he called me, in secret, asking for my life savings, I also chose. Her tone shifted, becoming artificially sweet. "Evelyn, look, I know we've had our differences, but this is bigger than us. This is about Leo, your grandson. Are you really going to let him suffer?" There it was, the guilt, the child. "Serafina, if you are in financial trouble, you have options. Sell the SUV, move to a smaller apartment, ask your parents for help, who I understand have far more resources than I do. But I am not your bank. I can't believe how insensitive you are." "I'm not insensitive. I'm a woman who finally understands her worth." "Go to hell, Evelyn." She hung up. A week later, I received a text from Marcus. "We lost the house. Hope you're happy." I replied, "I am sorry you are going through this. I wish you the best." There was no response. Social media filled with her passive-aggressive posts. Just when you thought you could count on family. My sister, Patricia, called. "Evelyn, is it true? He's your son." "And I am his mother," I replied, "and he treated me as if I was worth nothing. How long, Patricia, must I accept being invisible?" I had lost my son. Perhaps I had lost him years ago. I had lost my grandson, a child who would grow up believing his grandmother was a monster. I had lost the fantasy of a happy family. But in that loss, I had gained myself. 2 months passed, 2 months of silence. Then, one Tuesday, I received a message from an unknown number. "Evelyn, this is Beatrice, Holly's mother. Could we talk?" We met at a coffee shop downtown. The woman I saw was not the perfect, smiling woman from the photographs. She looked tired, worn. "Evelyn," she said, her hands trembling around a teacup. "Thank you for coming. My daughter told me what happened. The birthday, the call, your answer." I nodded, waiting. "And I want you to know," she said, her voice cracking. "I understand why you said no, because I did the same thing." I stared at her. "What?" "Holly came to me first, asking for $75,000. My husband and we told her no. We have given her everything her entire life. We never taught her boundaries. We are as much to blame as anyone. But, the photos, you're helping them. We loaned them $10,000, a loan, not a gift, for a small apartment. And, Evelyn, it's working." "What is working?" "Robert had to get 2 jobs, construction during the day, stocking shelves at night. Serafina, she's learning to cook. She's learning to budget. It's hard. But, for the first time, I see them as partners." A lump formed in my throat. "But I came here because..." Serafina has told everyone you are a terrible mother, and I let her. But I can't anymore. She's insecure. She confessed to me, but she was always jealous of you, afraid Robert loved you more, so she pushed you away. I never wanted to compete. I just wanted to be his grandmother. I know. And Evelyn. Leo asks about you. My heart stopped. He asked me, Grandma Beatrice, why do I never see my other grandma? I told him the truth, that his grandma Evelyn loved him very much, and that someday, when he was older, he could meet her. Tears ran down my face. Thank you, I whispered. Wait, she said, pulling an envelope from her purse. He made this at school. They were making cards for all the important women in their lives. He made one for you. She left. I sat there, holding the envelope. I opened it. It was a child's drawing, a boy with big eyes holding hands with an older woman. In crayon, it said, For my grandma Evelyn, I don't know. I opened it. Inside, in clumsy, pencil-written letters, Dear Grandma, my mom says you live very far away. My dad doesn't talk about you, but Grandma Beatrice showed me a picture. You have pretty eyes like my dad. I want to meet you one day. I hope you love me even though we don't know each other. With love, Leo. I wept in that coffee shop. I cried for the lost time. I cried for the pure heart of a child, but I also felt a hope. That night, I took out the box from my closet. I opened the leather album I had bought for Leo. I turned to one of the blank pages at the end. I added Leo's card. It was our first memory, a memory of hope. 6 more months passed. I heard whispers. Marcus was thin, tired, but working. Serafina posted a photo of a simple, home-cooked meal, learning that humility hurts, but it heals. Forgive those I hurt in my arrogance. Then, in April, a letter arrived. Real mail. The handwriting, I would know it anywhere. Mom, it began. I don't know if you'll read this. You were right. Those are the hardest words I've ever written, but they are the truest. I am reaping what I sowed. Every day of these 6 months has been a lesson. Every time I say no to Leo for something he doesn't need, I remember all the times you told me yes, even when you couldn't. I work 14 hours a day. My hands are raw. And when I'm so tired I can't move, I think of you. I think of your hands, covered in chalk dust. I am so ashamed. I am ashamed of that door. I am ashamed of that phone call. Sarah and we've talked. She's changing. She confessed her fear, how she pushed you away. I let her. It's my fault. Leo asks about you every day. He has your card saved in his room. I found the photo album you brought. Sarah had hidden it. I'm sorry. It's in our living room now. Every night, I show my son who you are. I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing to tell you. Your no is teaching me more than all your yeses combined. I'm trying, Mom. I'm trying to be the man you raised, the boy who promised to take care of you. I am trying. With love and shame, Marcus. I cried, but they were not tears of pain. They were tears of release. Life had done its work. I waited 3 months before I wrote back. I needed to be sure my reply came from a place of peace, not need. Marcus, I wrote. I read your letter. I forgive you. I forgive Serafina, and I forgive myself for accepting less than I deserved. But forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. A relationship is not rebuilt with a letter. It is rebuilt with time, with actions. If you truly want us to be family, you will have to prove it. Day after day, I will be here, not waiting, simply living my life. When you are ready, when you can look me in the eyes with respect, I will be here. Give my grandson a kiss. Tell him his grandmother loves him and is waiting for him. With love and dignity, Mom. 3 months later, my doorbell rang. It was a Sunday. I opened it. There he was, Marcus, thinner, grayer, with humble eyes. And next to him, a beautiful, shy boy, Leo. Hi, Mom, Marcus said, his voice thick. Ethan's birthday is next week. He asked for one gift. The boy stepped forward. Are you my grandma, Evelyn? I knelt. Yes, my love, I am. Can I Can I hug you? I pulled him to me, hugging my grandson for the first time. He was real. He was warm. I looked up at Marcus, who was crying silently. Sarah isn't ready, he whispered. But she's sorry. She's working on herself. And you? I asked. I'm not ready, Mom. But I'm here, trying. I looked at my son and my grandson, my past and my future. Come in, I said, my voice steady. I have coffee, and I think I have some cookies. That afternoon, we didn't fix the past. We just started. Leo asked me questions. Marcus watched, quiet, present. Before they left, Leo hugged me again. Grandma, can I come next Sunday? You can come every Sunday, my love. Marcus looked at me. Thank you. Don't thank me, I said. Just keep coming, keep trying. He has, every Sunday. Sometimes with Marcus, sometimes just Marcus. Serafina is not yet ready. I do not hate her. I am neutral. When she is ready, I will be here. My relationship with Marcus is healing. It is slow, it is scarred, but it is real. Mom, he asked me once, how did you do it? Let me go, knowing you could lose me forever? Because loving you meant letting you learn, I told him. True love doesn't hold on, it sets boundaries. Now, sitting on my patio, I think about the Evelyn I was, the one who begged for crumbs, and the Evelyn I am. I do not regret that no. That no saved me. And strangely, it saved my son. Only when I stopped chasing could he return. My name is Evelyn Reed. I am 60 years old. I learned that you cannot love anyone more than you love yourself. You cannot set yourself on fire to keep others warm. True love includes boundaries. And sometimes, the greatest act of love is to let go, not with hatred, but with the faith that if something is meant for you, it will return. My son returned, but even if he hadn't, I would be fine, because I finally found what I was looking for. Peace, not the peace of a perfect family, the peace of knowing my own worth. The doorbell rings. It's Leo. I smile, and I go to open the door, not to a past I have to beg for, but to a future I have built.